Hello. In this topic, we are going to talk about SAP HANA persistence. Now, just to remind you real quick, SAP HANA stores and processes all the data in the main memory. Now, that obviously means that if you have a hard failure or a soft failure, you will lose the data. So you have to save the data in a non-volatile storage to be able to bring it back. Now for that, SAP HANA depends on the data and log volumes. The database regularly saves the data to these volumes. Now we will see what these volumes are and how they are different from each other and how they will function when we recover the database. Now you see here, this is the data, or this is what we are talking about in memory. Now obviously all the physical tables which have been loaded into the memory will stay there. So you have the table information in the main memory. You have information about the modeling data in the memory. Now the log volume saves the information which has changed. So anything which is changed on the information, what we also call as redo logs, are saved directly to the storage. So I'm talking about non-volatile storage. So it's stored directly there if the statement is committed. The process is, when a change happens to a specific record, it is first written in the log volume in the persistent storage, and then it is updated in the database. So in case of a failure, you can always redo it. Now this log also can be overwritten. So there are different settings of the log and there are certain restrictions as well. We won't go into those as it is a part of the administration topics. Now let's look at the data volumes and what's written in the data volumes in terms of a save point. So any changes to the data which is persisted and the undo logs are written to the persisted storage. Now this is an automatic process. By default it is 300 seconds or 5 minutes, and this can be changed according to your need. So how it really works is, on a regular basis, all these data pages or whatever changes we have about an object and the before images, that is the undo logs, are written to the data volumes, right? Now this becomes a save point. So the next save point is after 300 seconds. So if you were to recover the database, you will lose data between these two save points. So to prevent that, we have something called the log, which is the log volume. Now what this does is this captures the changes between those two save points, and it only happens when the transaction is committed. Let's look at a scenario when system restart actually happens. So let's say that you had a power failure or a reboot, by mistake reboot, or for whatever reason you had a reboot. What will happen is most of these things are done automatically. So you don't have to per se intervene in this process. Just like a normal server or a computer, the system will come up automatically. So this is called the normal or lazy start. What will happen is the system will go to the last data save point which is saved, and will replay the logs from that save point till the point your server has been failed. So let's take a look at another slide which has a better description of this. So the recovery is, you first play your save point, which is saved nicely, and then till the point of your recovery you play the logs for the committed transactions. Always this is for the committed transactions, and we're talking about the redo logs. So this is called normal lazy start, where the row tables are loaded into the memory and the column tables which have the pre-flag or flag to be loaded first are loaded into the memory. Then from that point onwards, whenever a query hits the database, then all the corresponding tables are loaded into the memory. That's how this recovery works. There are 3 different types of recovery. So one recovery which we just spoke about. The second recovery is point in time recovery. Let's say you have a power failure at 2 a.m. and you want to be able to restore the database back to just 11:59 a.m. That is when you take the backup every day. So what you have to do is you have to play the save point. Let's say you have a save point every 5 minutes. So you're going to be playing at 11:55 p.m. and then you're going to be playing 4 minutes of logs. So that will become point in time recovery. The next option is recovering the database to a certain state, in the sense you use a certain backup to restore the database. So you always have stable backups, and you can always go back to them using this particular option. So in a nutshell, that is the persistence of HANA and the recovery options of HANA. Like I said before, we're not going into details of these topics as they are part of the administration activities. Let's take a look at SAP HANA hardware and the different hardware vendors. So this is the SAP HANA link URL to the landing page where you can get more information about the SAP HANA hardware and the various options. Let's go to the actual listings and take a look at it. The first thing you want to know is the different vendors. Now if you see Cisco, Dell, and then HP, naturally IBM, which you don't see here, Lenovo, and so these were the first set of vendors who joined the SAP HANA bandwagon, and then Huawei and NEC joined, and then the latest I believe are Unisys, Bull SAS, and then VC. These are the different vendors who are providing the SAP HANA hardware, the hardware itself, in terms of the RAM, in terms of the storage, and in terms of also the operating system and also the communication file system. If you come down, we can take a look at the different memory options. So we have right from 128 GB to all the way till 12 terabyte of memory. So naturally, even a system with 12 terabyte of memory, for example, any business suite which has a footprint of 12 terabyte can be hosted on the HANA platform. Let's take a look at the smallest guy here, 128 gigs. So we have different vendors providing this solution. So we have Cisco, Dell, Fujitsu, and so on. So let's open it and see what they have. So they have two CPUs. So this 2 stands for 2 CPUs, Ivy Bridge 4890 CPUs. And they have the memory of 128 gigabyte. File system is XFS, and the operating system here in this case is Red Hat Linux. This also comes with the SUSE Linux. We'll take a look at a couple of more configurations where they might have SUSE Linux and an operating system. Now, trying to correlate back to our presentations, we said that log should be at least 1 time your memory, and then data volume is at least 4 times your memory. So you see that here implemented. Now these are just best practices. Obviously you would know better when you design your system what kind of log and data volume you should have. Now if you see option number 2 with Cisco, it's again 128 gigs, and now this time the operating system is SUSE Linux. So these certifications, these hardware vendors are certified, right? So these certifications come with a certain certification date, and they have certain timelines. So you want to probably investigate more on these before you actually buy that specific model of that company or vendor.